Alright folks, just want to do a video on the Cold Steel Raja 3. Now, this is a knife that I've had for a few years, probably 2 or 3 years, closer to 3. And I carry it often and use it a lot, not as much now as I did when I first got it. But I want to go over some of the specifications or stats on it, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the knife from a use and personal perspective. So anyhow, it's got a 3.5 inch blade that's made out of Cold Steel's AUS 8A steel, which is actually made in Japan. The blade thickness is 4 millimeters up here at the spine, and that's pretty thick, so it's kind of a beefy little folder. I wouldn't call it a overbuilt, hard-used tactical blade, but it's definitely sturdy, and it can definitely take a licking. And it weighs in at 4.4 ounces, so it's a little heavy, but I think given the thickness of the blade and the thickness of the handle, and the material this is made out of is called the Grivery, which I would expect is just a fiberglass reinforced polymer of some sort. Actually, they might be calling this one Grive X. I don't know what the difference is between Grivery and Grive X. The handle is 4 7/8 inches long, and it comes with a stainless steel pocket clip for each side for tip up, right or left hand carry. As you can see, it has a lanyard hole, which I have a lanyard in here as well. And so that's really it from a spec standpoint. There's a couple things about this knife that I do like. It has this thumb disc, which makes opening it very easy, and allows it to be waved open from a pocket. And the wave feature works pretty well. The steel has held up pretty well. Like I said, I haven't done any chopping through cinder blocks or batoning through 2x4s or anything like that, but I've used it for all kinds of every EDC daily EDC task. You can see there's some wear on there. It has a bead blast finish, which is one thing that I don't like. This bead blast finish, and I don't know if it's just because AUS 8A is susceptible to rusting. It seems like most of my rust issues outside of 1095 or carbon steels are with AUS 8, and I've had some rust issues with this particular knife where I've taken it out and I've used it and I folded it up and put it in my pocket, and later on that night I've taken it out to see if it needs to be stropped or sharpened or anything like that, and I've noticed that it had some spotting or rust on the blade. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of it there. And that's not bad. I mean, I've had it a lot worse than that, and I think that the bead blast creates, I don't know the right word for it, I don't say micro pitting, and allows moisture to get trapped in there, and it just rusts up really quick. You could take this knife apart, you could stone wash it or acid wash it and then stone wash it to maybe remove the bead blast finish, but that's kind of silly, right? And so this knife, I think the MSRP on it is around $95. I bought it so long ago, I don't remember exactly what I paid, but I want to say it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $45, give or take. And for that price, I think it's a good knife. I think it's worth it. I've had some other buddies that have bought this knife as well, and they seem to like it just fine. So I don't really have any too big of an issue with it. The handle is a little small. I think there's some wasted space here. I can get my whole hand on there. I wear like a large size glove, but I don't have like monster, butcher hands or bear paws or anything like that like some guys do. If you really had big monster hands, if you went to like a 3-inch grip, because of this ramp here, it would make it a little bit difficult, I think, to get a pinky hold on there. But it fits my hand really well. I'll do the obligatory reverse grip. I don't know anybody who really uses or holds a knife like this, I guess, unless you're going to do the psycho stab. The handle is very comfortable. I don't know if I'll call it ergonomic, but it's contoured well. It doesn't have a lot of hot spots, and I think that you could do a lot of cutting chores with this. Now this does have a pretty big recurve in it, and it's supposed to be a shrunk down version of the Cold Steel Raja 2, and I'm not really sure if I know what exactly that means, or if it's really a shrunk down version, because this doesn't really look like a kukri blade to me. I can see the resemblance, but to me this is down. I guess you could call it a micro kukri or something like that. It does have a really big belly, so when you're cutting or slicing, it bites in really well, and you get a lot of blade across that area. I like this style. A lot of people will hate on it because they're difficult to sharpen. The bigger the recurve or the curve in the blade, the more difficult it is to sharpen. a lot of people use the Spyderco Sharp Maker to sharpen knives, which there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I don't know if it works the best for these. I think it works well in that you can use the triangle piece of the Sharp Maker to kind of ride on there, but when you flip to the flat portion, it makes it difficult. I just have some of these Spyderco sharpening stones, and what I kind of do is something like that. Let me get a little bit more in here, and that allows me to use the edge of the stone to come across, and then for the tip, I can sharpen as if I would a normal knife, and it works well. It took a little practice and a little getting used to, but I'm not intimidated to buy a recurve blade now that I can sharpen one appropriately. I don't have to worry about it or ship it off or any of that kind of stuff. This works a lot better than sharpening with the Sharp Maker. Sharp Maker works well for putting a micro bevel on, but this allowed, using a flat stone like this, you could reprofile, or you don't need to have a micro bevel. I use a micro bevel, but I think it's besides the point. This is a good method that works well for me. Anyhow, that's really all I had to say about it. This is a great little knife. I recommend it. Unfortunately, it does have the bead blast finish. That might not be an issue for you. For me, I have used it in out in the yard and stuff where it was wet, and it did create problems. But it wouldn't stop me from buying any other cold steel knives. In fact, I have quite a few. So that's it. Thanks, everybody.